The Oracle Network.
We're all in this together! We're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap danced with Danny fucking Kaye. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Dinner was full!
Ah, yeah. You checked our shitters, honey?
Clark.
Happy holidays and welcome to Brew Crime, the podcast where we drink brews, talk crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is Mike and my co-host,
JT. Hi, everybody.
Hello, and our special guest, Nobody. This is just us.
No, it's just us. It's a very intimate setting. There's candles and a dinner and 2 microphones.
Which is going to be so funny when I read the title of this story.
Bring it.
Dildo to Climax, or as I will name it, Rabbit to Orgasm.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It all starts out with a dinner and candles.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yes,
And then it ends up with a rabbit.
I literally put LOL into the script because I knew that was coming.
I had no idea. I want everybody to know at home. I had no idea what he was going to present.
Perfect. So this is an episode I have wanted to write for some time, but the level of crime for small towns can make it difficult. But for the holidays, I thought it would be a perfect time to finally do this episode. So how far is it between a dildo and a climax, you might ask?
Just a finger in the butt away.
Well, according to Google Maps, it is 65 hours or 5,631 kilometers, 3,499 miles between the two, and there is a ferry on the way. You read that as you will.
Is it a fairy penguin?
Not this time.
Oh, man. 3,000 plus miles is a good day drive.
65 hours.
Or a couple day drive.
Yeah. So let's get serious for 1 second now. Dildo is a town in the maritime province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and the town of Climax is in the province of Saskatchewan, more in the middle of Canada.
So sassy, sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
My nickname continues. I noticed a much lower listenership in sassy, sketchy lately. So
Yeah.
you know.
Seeing as I always thought this would be a hilarious road trip to take, I thought, why not talk about a few crimes between the two towns?
This is brilliant, and I really want us to take it now.
Our road trip starts in Dildo, as any good story would. The town of Dildo has a big sign on a hill, like Hollywood. The thing is, it is on private property, and this means the Dildo is out of reach as access is strictly prohibited.
Well, now that's just depressing.
Agreed, right?
But, I mean, also, let's be honest, Hollywood translates to dildo anyway, so,
Now, with this being a news story worthy of a newspaper article, I think you get the idea of how small this town is. To be exact, the population of Dildo is 1,234 people.
They should have stopped at 69.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
The town does not seem to be rife with crime, but I found one to share. On August 6, 2020 at 6:30 a.m., the capital city of Newfoundland, Labrador, St. John's, had its peace and quiet broken by gunshots. A black Honda Civic with a man and a woman inside sped through a neighborhood, taking what are thought to be targeted shots at someone. No one will be hit by the bullets, but the Royal Newfoundland Constabulary, or RNC, were called in and they swarmed the area.
All right.
It's quite the name for a fucking police officer. The constabulary.
I am a constabulary. I feel like he should have big old cheeks and hasn't
jowls.
been able to run in years. Yes.
They would hunt for the black Civic and run into it in an area, I shit you not, called Conception Bay South.
Oh my God. Conception within dildo?
Now I have to say, there's not much conception if you just use a dildo. The pair were speeding down Highway 1 westbound, and the RNC would work with the RCMP to track the car safely. They would make their way to Dildo about an hour away from St. John's. Once in Dildo, the black Civic would end up in an accident with another car and careen into a house.
Just straight up penetration.
Yes. Now, the man would get out of the car and try to run while the woman would just sit in the car. I have to say that the woman made the right choice as the RNC police dogs arrived, and a short time later, the police dog had taken down Paul Hennenbury, putting him in the hospital for a short time.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
Yeah. Don't run. Don't. Just stay where you're at.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
The woman, 29 years old, who was not named, was arrested without issue and will later be released on bail. It does not seem like a gun was found, but Paul had multiple drug trafficking issues and illegal possession of a gun charges and had a lifetime ban on owning a gun.
Sounds like he's got a hobby.
Yeah. This accident and arrest had multiple police, ambulance, and the highway in and out of town were shut down. So that's a big deal for a small town.
That is really big. Yeah.
And, you know, I said it was a huge story that is probably still talked about today.
Do you remember that one time that kid in Dildo ended up on Conception? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're 90.
The batteries fell out of the...
He crashed the car when the batteries fell out the dildo when he reached down to grab them.
Yeah. Also, while the story is not all that interesting, I would be doing a disservice to not read this headline from 2018. Police look for leads in unsolved dildo armed robbery case.
You know, as soon as you said it, my brain rifled through my Rolodex of what kind of joke can I make? And then I realized the headline is the joke.
Yes.
It needs nothing more.
Okay, let's get on the highway and make our way to Climax.
We're on the highway to Climax. No.
Now, it would be wrong of me not to mention the premature destination on this road trip, only an hour away from Dildo, a town named Come By Chance.
Okay, listen. Nobody coming from Dildo is coming by chance. It's not happening. Listen, here's the deal. Y'all are so polite up there. Y'all are so polite that you'll roll through it and be like, and then that we could not have that down here. We couldn't. We just couldn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a legit story. We'd find some problem with it.
Yeah. So, all right, if you didn't come by chance, let's get to Saskatchewan.
Jesus Christ.
So, Climax is a tiny village in southern Saskatchewan with a population in 2016 of 195 people.
It's really hard to find.
No.
Climax.
Very true. A lot more dildos than climaxes.
There's a lot more climaxes with dildos. I don't know.
So Climax seems to have some issues with crime. They are 77% above the national average for total crime, with violent crime 70% above and property crime 80% above Canada. It's all, percentage-wise, but yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Now, in the town's defense, these numbers are overall about the same as the entire province of Saskatchewan. So they're not far off.
All right.
A few headlines I found for Climax were as follows. Police are searching for thieves who stole 100 gallons of gasoline from a vehicle from the Climax garage over the last 3 weeks. Gotta love that time span. 3 weeks.
Good God. 3. Jeez. Okay. 3 weeks in Climax.
Yeah.
Even I'd be tired.
But also, someone has been shooting holes in the walls of the town's pump house.
Listen, the pump house has to remain intact.
Yes,
in Climax, you can't have a jacked up pump.
Oh, you can.
Yeah, that's true. You can jack a pump.
Some of the bullets went through the building and actually damaged some of the pump equipment.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So the climax of this episode will be about the murder of a police officer on August 11th, 1981. So this is where the jokes probably will drop a little bit, but yeah.
Yes.
On August 9th, Corporal Ole Larson was sent out to the home of Keith Allen Sipley's estranged wife. Keith was a very troubled man, and the RCMP quoted as saying, Sipley was watched carefully by the police in the area because he was known for his undisciplined and irresponsible behavior.
So was it like a psychological issue that he had, or just he was just violent?
Violent, probably psychological, yeah.
Okay.
Keith, only in his 20s, was causing a problem at her home, so the police were there to remove him from the premises.
Okay.
Now, Keith was pissed that he was forced to leave the house, and he said that he would confront the officers about the situation.
I'm just going to get up and talk to somebody.
The next night would see Keith make his way to Officer Larson's neighborhood, as he just happened to know where he lived.
What? Oh, God, no.
Small town, right?
Yeah.
He drove his car peeling rubber into the neighborhood, and then he would end up doing donuts.
Okay.
Basically, he was trying to make as much noise and disturbance as possible so he could force Officer Larson out of his house.
Oh.
Finally, just before midnight, he would head out of his house. Keith would take off as Officer Larson got into his squad car and made chase. The chase would make its way to directly in front of the Climax Hotel, where Keith would stop his car. The officer got out of his car and headed toward the car. You know, he's going to do the traffic stop at that point, right?
He's doing his thing, yeah.
Unfortunately, Keith would step out with a rifle and shoot him multiple times point blank.
Okay.
He would make his way back to his squad car and turn on his sirens to try and get any help he could. But it was after midnight.
Oh, gee. Well, you got after midnight, you got the bystander effect. You got all that going on.
Not a lot of police officers in a small town of under 200 people.
Yeah.
This is a quote. In front of two witnesses who were standing outside the hotel, Sipley followed Larson back to the cruiser and shot him twice more through the closed car door, and he lay across the seat.
Jesus.
Keith would get back into the car and race away. He would head south across the border into Montana.
As one does.
Yeah. He would try and steal a truck from a farm, but would end up shooting himself in the head with his rifle.
Jeez.
Yeah. The police would find a tape recorder with a note, quote, I don't know what made me do it, Sipley had recorded, according to the police. I wish to God it had never happened. Unfortunately for Corporal Larson, he would not survive as he was rushed to the local hospital with multiple gunshots, including one through the eye.
Oh, God.
He'd be taken in an ambulance plane, but die before the plane reached its destination. Larson left behind a wife and two daughters, aged 9 and 7. So there we have it. That's my road trip from Dildo to Climax.
I didn't like the climax so much,
No.
but the road trip was fun. I mean, so kudos to him. I mean, he got out of his house. He hopped in that car and decided to protect the neighborhood. It just so happened to be the wrong guy.
Yeah, the wrong piece of shit for sure.
So fucked up. But
luckily, he won't be able to cause any more issues for anyone else either. But
oh yeah, that's very true. But yeah, so I mean, Dildo to Climax.
Dildo to Climax. All right, well, thanks for tuning into this Hoppy Holiday episode. If you want to find us on social media, you can find the show at Brew Crime or JT at
JT Brews Crime.
And we've got a Facebook group. Just look up Brew Crime, the group. You go to patreon.com/brewcrime and support us. Money goes towards making the show better and upgrading equipment. And leave us a review, please. We love it.
All the stars.
All the stars. Cheers.
Bye.